Hello and welcome back to Lombardi Sweep, Flurry Sports Green Bay Packer podcast. I'm Zach Bruner, Trevor Landon in the middle, Janet Wilson on the right, and Luke Reimer will be joining us shortly. You last heard from us during the first round of the NFL draft. You got our live reactions of the second pick, Davonte Wyatt, and obviously you heard our thoughts on Quail Walker, our initial reactions about it. So we've had a few days to let things sink in to see how the rest of the draft has panned out for the Packers, for everybody. And I think the consensus around the league is every single general manager, except for maybe Bill Belichick, had their best draft class yet, which good for 31 teams. So that's good for the league, I guess. But obviously there were some good picks, there were some bad picks, there were questionable decisions, but my thoughts are all out there, so I kind of want to turn it over to you two for the most part. Trevor, you can start. What's your overall thoughts of this draft, and do you still have the same thoughts as you had on the first night of the draft?
About round one, a little less extreme. Obviously, I don't think anybody really knew how bad Nakobe Dean's injury problems were. Obviously, with him not wanting to get surgery, so that kind of bumps up Quay Walker to the number 2 linebacker. Still too early to take him at 22, though, in my opinion. But really, just my overarching takeaway is we need to stop. And I know we've before. We need to stop saying only positive things about every draft. Like, there's a reason some of these guys fell to the 7th round. You can't just everybody's a steal that should have gone in the 3rd. That doesn't help anybody. I think that's exactly why we're seeing this movement of Twitter kind of saying every pick looks like a good pick in some roundabout way, some physical stat or dumbass PFF stat that tells you that they're great. And we just need to get away from that because it's taken away from actual analysis. Like the analysis that our buddy, what's his name? Petey puts out there. So what's his last name? Bukowski.
Bukowski. Oh, Bukowski.
You know, takes away
Zach's
from all his
really
hard
big.
work, you know?
Yeah. I didn't know who we were complimenting, and I heard Petey. I'm like, ugh. There's very few good Pete's that I know. I'm related to one. Shout out the Playing Catch Up podcast. But aside from that, you took it down a weird route. But yeah, to your point, I think, every draft pick's a good pick. Every pick was a steal. And if you say anything negative, you are super anti that team. You are a terrible fan. What do you know? You're not a general manager. You know nothing about it. And which I'm just reading off my DMs right now. Just that's basically what I get.
Backmail.
Yeah, you can call it that. But I mean, there's a clear reason to point to why every pick's a good pick and stuff like that, because everyone is now trying to get into the scouting thing. With fantasy football, people know more about players now more than ever, but not necessarily everything. People think they know more about football than they do. And when they're doing research on players, always, these NFL experts on Twitter, on Reddit, on everywhere, what do you do when you watch film on players? If I'm watching Quay Walker film, what am I doing? For me, it's different than for some people. For 99%, they go, okay, Quay Walker highlights. You're seeing good plays. That's it. I can show you highlights of 7th round players, and they look like 1st round players because they're all good plays. Like, if you want to watch film, watch a full game, watch the first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter, watch the bad games, watch the good games, because the highlights are in there, but there's lowlights that you're not seeing, obviously. So when you type in highlights, by the way, if you see a 2-minute video of highlights, that's a massive red flag. But man, you're doing a disservice if you're just watching highlights. You're not an analyst. You're not doing anything.
And real quick on the highlight portion, like, I know I talked to you about this with, I think, Christian Watson and some of the cornerbacks I was looking at. There will be a highlight tape, especially for cornerbacks. It happens all the time. Everyone has it. Oh, they get a pick six. Yeah, the ball was underthrown by like 10 yards. They were burned off the line. So it's just common sense in that too. It's kind of frustrating. And, you know, to your point, all the Quay Walker highlights I saw, they started out with, yeah, he was unblocked. Well, if he's unblocked, he better get to the damn quarterback. Like, what are we doing here?
It's like the center for every NFL team having the best Pro Football Focus blocking grade. Yeah, they didn't block anybody, so they didn't give up a sack and they didn't commit a penalty, and that's how you base your grades. Congratulations. But different rant for a different day. Janet, you were more positive, I think, on draft night, weren't you, with our first 2 picks? What's your
Yeah,
keep
I
framing
feel like
yourself?
I was.
You're good.
I feel like I feel like I want to give this draft like a B minus. Like it was questionable, but I'm excited to see like what these wideouts like or how they're gonna fit into the scheme and how I definitely don't feel that it was worth getting rid of Davonte. Like I don't know. So a lot of people were debating that. Like, do you think it was worth it getting rid of Davonte for who we picked up? I personally don't feel like it was because it is so hard to regain that kind of chemistry that like him and Rodgers had. Like you can't just pick that up by with all these rookies, you know? So like to me, I was like, well, I don't think it's worth it, but I don't think that the draft was terrible just because we have had more terrible drafts before. So I feel like I'm kind of numb to what a bad draft would be. Like I don't think this was a terrible draft compared to the other ones we've had before. I guess I'm desensitized or whatever it's called. Like when you just it's not as bad as you thought it was, you know? But
Stockholm
I'm
syndrome.
excited to see what happens. What is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, this can't be that bad. But yeah, no, I'm excited to see like how they fit into the scheme of things and whether or not they're going to produce anything their first year.
Yeah, and we welcome Luke Reimer here. Luke, we're just talking about the draft class overall, and before we get your thoughts, like I did start with saying 31 general managers probably had their best draft class of all time, and I said it as a joke, but it's also probably true. People talk about how this draft class was so bad because I think the first round talent was worse than clearly the past several years. But this, in my personal opinion, was the deepest draft class of all time we have ever seen. And there's multiple reasons for that. Obviously, the youth football programs are getting better, people getting, you know, more athletic and all that, caring about their bodies more, you know, it just keeps going. Oh, it snowballs, right? Players are getting better once they get to the league because of that. Also, because of the COVID year, you had a lot of players staying back a year and learning more. So we have older players as well. But to be completely honest, like there were undrafted players who I think they probably could have gone in the 5th rounds 2 years ago, like that same level of talent. So you look at the 7th rounders, like the Packers got and other teams got. Yeah, it looks like we got a steal because most of the 7th round picks are usually trash. You're like, these guys aren't going to make a team. Rasheed Walker, he was what? Big Ten all offensive lineman or second team, either first or second team. I think he was first team. Yeah, getting him in the 7th round, that sounds great. But that doesn't mean it's a steal. I mean, there were better players ahead of him. Just because usually those players aren't there doesn't mean we found the needle in the haystack. There were a lot of needles this year, and a lot of teams got poked by them. But Luke, we were just talking basically right now how your thoughts have changed from draft night when we were last here. Like, are your thoughts still roughly the same, or how do you feel about this draft class as a whole?
In my mind, I do think the Packers succeeded in this draft. Obviously, that's yet to be seen with however players play, whatever. I and maybe it's because I'm jaded, Zach. We talked about this last week. We're expecting the Packers not to do much, right? So to see them, fill spots of need somewhat. I mean, it's a little. I mean, I think it's a bright spot. I obviously the 2 big names in this draft were the 2 receivers, right? With MVS and Davonte leaving, who's going to catch passes? Robert Tonyan, we don't know his status yet. Are these receivers going to be Davonte Adams and MVS? Probably not, right? But are they going to contribute right away? I mean, they're going to have to. And everyone's been saying it. And is there a better quarterback that you can play with when you're young? Probably not. I know Aaron Rodgers expects a lot of production, a lot of hard work, a lot of effort from rookie receivers. It almost is starting to feel like, maybe Green Bay, as long as Aaron Rodgers is here, Green Bay is kind of a starting spot for rookie receivers. And then they, once they start to produce, then they get paid somewhere else, using what they learned from Aaron Rodgers to work hard and be good in the NFL, right? And I think we kind of saw that a little bit with MVS and EQ and guys like that. But I mean, defense great. I mean, I'm always up in arms about building up defense. I've said it how many times. Packers are getting torched in the run game. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Do Davonte Wyatt and Quail Walker help that immediately? Probably not. Maybe development comes quick and they help in December. But honestly, Trevor, Zach, Janet, I'm just happy we didn't take a quarterback in the first round. I'm happy we didn't take a punter in the fourth round. I'm happy we didn't triple up on receivers again when we necessarily didn't need a receiver. I think we did fill holes, and I'm sure you guys are the same, but I'm very excited to get into to maybe move 3-4 months down the road and get training camp going.
Yeah, I'm excited for mini camp in a couple of days here, but obviously that's basically going to be nothing. We need training camp to be here. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like it'll be really interesting to see Aaron Rodgers this year.
Mm-hmm.
Because he very clearly has a more mature and different mindset than even 2-3 years ago. But even as recent as last year, he is so quick to dismiss the inexperienced player. If you make one mistake, he just won't look your direction.
Mm-hmm.
And if he does that, that means he's going to be forcing the ball to Randall Cobb.
Right.
That's it. Like, there's nobody else here.
Maybe Amari Rodgers. You never know. He's experienced, right?
Maybe. Yeah, kind of, compared to others on the roster. But yeah, so Rodgers is going to have to be a lot more patient this year, I think. I don't think he can be that firm hand this year.
The only thing I can reference him is like, when your dad asks you to hold the flashlight and when you hold it wrong, he's like, get out of here. Get out of here. Like, I'll just do it myself. That's what he reminds me of.
So to compare the Packers to, I guess, in music terms, the Packers are like Queen, right? Aaron Rodgers is Freddie Mercury, and the rest of the team sucks. Yeah. The rest of Queen sucks except for Freddie Mercury, right?
I would agree. Sure.
But that's what this has been these last since 2010. I mean, Queen is probably a middle tier band if Freddie Mercury's not there and they have someone else lead.
We're getting off the rails here, man. We're getting off the rails.
The Packers,
let him finish.
Why don't we talk about maybe in sync, like Justin Timberlake, like
the same thing with the Packers though. If Packers don't have Aaron Rodgers, they're mid tier. But Freddie Mercury is probably the best at his craft. Aaron Rodgers is probably the best at his craft. They have to make the people around them better, and they have proved that for how many years that both of these groups have been around.
I think we need to start calling Aaron Rodgers Mr. Fahrenheit.
Perfect.
That's all year long. Like that's what he's got to be. Good analogy, Luke.
I think that I'm going to start going to make more music analogies in upcoming shows.
I got to say 1 for 1 so far, so you might as well keep swinging. Why not? Heat check. Yeah, let's just go through the draft, and then I want to try something interesting afterwards. We'll see how we get, I guess. But let's just go like pick by pick, just how we feel. We can give a grade if we want. I don't really give a shit. Like, we're a vibe show. We don't need to put a grade on it. Like, what's your vibe about it? So we went 22. I mean, okay, Janet gives a grade. We can all give grades, but it doesn't need to be a letter. See how this goes.
All right.
But number 22, Quail Walker, linebacker, Georgia. We obviously had a little bit of negative feelings on draft night. But how are you feeling now that you see the entire class as a whole, Janet? What's your overall vibe or grade for that pick?
A B.
B.
Like, I'm not ultimately disappointed disappointed, but I do feel like they were trying to meet our needs the best they could. So I'm gonna say a B. And I kind of like. I know a lot of people were making fun of the fact that we were picking up all these Georgia players, but I kind of like that. I kind of like that trend.
Because of the G on the helmet.
No, not because of the G. Because have you ever been on a new team and you know somebody? Like it's just it
So
makes
you feel good about okay.
yeah,
I mean,
like you feel more comfortable when you know somebody on the team than
It's
going
like a
to
pro version
completely brand new.
of a bus buddy, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
I do think
Fair
that Janet has a point there. With familiarity, that chemistry. I mean, you can't teach chemistry, right?
I mean, a lot of teachers do it. It's a pretty...
As someone who got a
We
C,
try.
C in chemistry in high school, I'll say that's not my strong suit. But anyways, obviously it's not going to be like a Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, right, or anything like that. But there is something to guys playing together, knowing how they play.
I can't believe you said you can't teach chemistry.
Can't teach chemistry. I mean,
You were cooking on that Freddie Mercury and you just jumped off a cliff on that one. But go on.
So I think that in my mind, you can't teach chemistry because I can't wrap my mind around chemistry. So I don't know how anyone would be able to teach it.
I would say you can't force chemistry.
That's more true.
That's better.
That is better.
But no, I forgot what I was going to say. Good. Oh, fuck. Never mind.
You can force chemistry. Pass.
Okay, Trevor.
I'm gonna give it a C minus. I get what they're trying to do, but I guess there are two frames of thought, right? Goot's frame of thought is I want to consistently be making picks 2 years down the road so that we're always good enough to win the division. That frame of thought, it's a decent pick. But looking at right now, it's not great. And then looking at I just want to make sure I get his first name right. Was it Jermaine Johnson the second, right? Out of Florida State? Yeah, Jermaine Johnson. I think that was the pick. I don't know. I just don't understand how you pass on that guy at 22. I don't understand. I get Luke doesn't like him because he didn't play the guitar once when asked about it and he doesn't have a personality. I don't give a shit because if he sacks the quarterback, he's already better than Rashawn Gary, who just gets pressure. So taking all that into account, C minus.
I mean, that just speaks to his coachability. I mean, you're not going to do things that your coach says. Yeah, I don't want that on my team.
Fair enough. I'll also go C minus C. I mean, Quail, I don't hate going linebacker right away, but we definitely didn't need to, especially with the way the draft, fell. But even if we do go linebacker right away, I'm not sure why Quail Walker was the pick, other than we're like, oh, Georgia are a winner, so we need to get more Georgia Bulldogs. We need a dog back there. And everyone is now comparing him to Devondre Campbell because they are tall linebackers who can tackle. And let's just pretend that's a good comparison because it's not. But even if we are, why do we want to stack the formation with two of the same player? Like, it makes no sense to stack the deck with the exact same cards. Like, you need complementary players. And you'll see with this entire draft class, like, they're good individual players, I would say. I just don't know how they fit together. I feel like we got pieces to 11 different puzzles. It's weird. It's a weird class.
It's Amari Rodgers all over again. Ben Finnell, eat your damn heart out. Suck it. But, I mean, he was saying the same stuff this year. He's basically Devondre Campbell. Cool. He, is an inside linebacker who is black. That's really pretty much where it stops. So I just don't know why we're reaching like this. Like, how many players have played in the NFL and we can't even try with comps? There are all these players out there. We can't even try at it. It's just kind of sad.
It's just, I don't know. Comps are weird anyways, but the same people who are saying Quay Walker is Devondre Campbell were the same people who said Amari Rodgers is Randall Cobb. And then it's the same people who are making fun of people who make comparisons. I saw this multiple times today. They're like, every wide receiver the Packers draft is MVS. Like, no, just Christian Watson is. Like, he's a tall, fast guy who can't catch or run routes. Like, that's MVS. Like, stop trying to be cute. I don't know what you're doing. But
remember, they also compared the Love situation to Rodgers. Like, I don't get, and then the Rodgers situation to Favre. Like, I don't get why we're bringing up the past. Let's move on from our exes.
especially when it's just a completely distorted view of the past. Like, people forget what happened. It just doesn't make sense. But anyways, 28, we went with another Georgia Bulldog. So he has a bus buddy, roommate in camp. To Janet's point, he's not so lonely anymore. It's Davonte Wyatt, defensive lineman again. I think this is a decent comparison when people compare him to Kenny Clark. But then again, if you compare him to Kenny Clark, then you got to compare him to Jaron Reed, which means we have a defensive line full of the exacts. We have a defensive line full of Kenny Clark and Dean Lowry, and that's it. They're all one of those two players, and I don't get it. But he's a good player at least.
So just to add on with comparisons here for a second, I think a lot of people get messed up or screwed up when the draft and say, oh, he's like Kenny Clark. That's a comparison for him. I think everyone thinks he's going to be Kenny Clark right away in the league.
Right.
It's great to dream. I know Zach, you say that all the time. It's great to dream. How often do these comparisons come true? I mean, close to under 10%.
I don't know. Amari Rodgers looked so much like Randall Cobb last year. I think, well, let's try it again with another comparison.
I want Ben Finnell to acknowledge me just because it was so far off. I wasn't even close. And then Jason Post tweeting at him. Like, don't tweet at that guy. That guy's a tool. Went to Clemson. Jason. Only tools go to Clemson.
Yeah, checks out. I was going to find someone, but I can't figure it out. Maybe Taj Boyd.
Great player.
I like Taj Boyd.
It's May 4th. May the 4th be with you. I think the Packers are trying to do like Stormtrooper clones. Like they're just trying to get the same player over and over again.
Agree, Janet.
We are going so off the rails here. What
are we
doing here?
I did it.
How many
Janet, what's your grade for Davonte Wyatt?
Let's see. You know what? He gives me BJ Raji vibes. I know we don't want to bring up the past, but like, I don't know. This picture of him reminds me of him. I'm going to give him a C.
Luke, what about you?
I like him. Zach, I like him. Trevor, I like him. Janet, I like him. He's a guy, like I said before, everyone, like week 1 through about 6 last year, like, oh, the Packers aren't giving up anything in the run game, right? There's a point where people are talking about, is the run game finally here? Then we watch, the rest of the year, and it was just horrible. So does he help with the run game? Like I mentioned before, probably. If he's quick and can shed blocks, I'm all in. Of course, you have to develop to get there, but if you're telling me that we're going to get the ball to Aaron Rodgers more, I'm all for this pick.
Trevor.
I'll go C+. Looking at how the draft played out, it didn't look like, at least from who they drafted, the Packers weren't really looking cornerback safety. Now, obviously they were if people fell, but looking at the secondary is good. The top 5 guys are good. Looking at cornerbacks and safeties, after that it really drops off. If this team gets an injury, it's going to be really problematic. So I'm looking at like Lewis Seen, he wouldn't be my guy. But Daxton Hill out of mid, talking about who plays the slot, I think he could have been a good guy there. So I just kind of look at everybody who fell. Logan Hall, he can play inside and out. We've talked about him out of Houston. So again, a lot of good, but I don't hate the pick. I'd probably go C+, B- on that fence.
I gave it a B just because like he's a really good player. He shouldn't have been on the board at this point, and I think the Packers felt the same way, and that's why they just took him. It's just like defensive line in terms of depth is a need, but I don't think he fills a specific role. Like I said, now we have 3 sort of pass rushers on the interior. We still don't have a run stopper in the interior, so it just didn't really make sense to me. But yeah, I think he's a good player. I think what the Packers want is ideally they're going to try to move him, or maybe they rotated, I guess, but I would think they probably move him out to like a 3 to 5 technique tackle and keep Kenny at the nose. So like he's gonna It's going to be weird. It's going to be really weird. Like, I think they want, I don't know. Again, like, I think we just have a lot of picks here that don't play well together. It's going to be odd.
I will say that's just another guy in that room to help TJ Slayton learn how to breathe.
All hands on deck.
Then we went.
That's right. Second round, we traded up immediately. We traded all the way up, used both of our second round picks to go up to 34 to draft Christian Watson. Would Christian Watson have dropped further? I would assume so, but it is what it is. We got him. He is the top wide receiver on the board for us. He is an athletic freak from NDSU. He doesn't run routes well. He doesn't catch the ball well. He didn't play the most snaps on his own team at wide receiver. So to ask him to play starter snaps in the NFL his rookie year is a long stretch and a pipe dream, but it is what it is. I talked to some people from NDSU, and so this is me making an apology to them. I'm sorry for the things I said before and just a couple seconds ago, because I think he's going to be good. I just don't think he's going to be good with Aaron Rodgers, because I think this is probably Aaron Rodgers' last year, would be my guess, with the Packers. I think he probably plays with the Broncos next year or something like that, or just retires. So I think this wasn't a pick for Aaron Rodgers, is a pick for Jordan Love. So congratulations, Jordan Love. I guess it's a guy you can throw to who has a catch radius like a passing net, and hopefully you can hit that. But I guess I'll start with my grade. I think I gave it a B or something. It was fine. B minus. Janet, what's your grade for Christian Watson?
I'm going to say a B minus too. I'm just happy we finally got a wide receiver. Honestly. Just to get people to stop bitching about it. Like, I mean, I am guilty. I also wanted one. But at the same time, like, it's just been long overdue, especially with the fans. They've been going crazy about it. So just give it a B minus.
So Christian Watson has to be usable this year. He has to play football. You can't sit there and watch from the sidelines. I mean, at times he's going to be the number one receiver on the field. Is that going to be too quick of development for him, or will it be great that he gets the early work with the Hall of Fame quarterback? I do think by about week 6, 7, 8, somewhere in there, I think we'll kind of get an idea on what we're going to see from him for the rest of the year. But I mean, like you said, Zach, he's an athletic freak. Everyone talks about potential. I mean, sharpen up those routes. I mean, this is, a potential home run in the second round. But was he the best receiver available then? I don't necessarily think so. I don't know. I'm middle of the pack. I'm probably higher than normal on him, just because I think he gets that early work right away with Aaron Rodgers, and we can kind of get an idea of what he's going to be for the rest of the year.
So what?
I haven't been giving out grades.
Oh, fair enough. Participation awards, I guess. I'll give it a B plus, only because I can't. Like, is he the guy I wanted off the board, one at wide receiver? But at this rate, by the time it got to this pick, the damage is already done. So at this point, this place, I would discount it more for the trade, but seeing the premium that wide receivers are going for, which is absolutely insane, I can't knock it as much as I usually. Big-bodied guy, to your point, 2-3 years down the road, can he be really good? Possibly. But right now I can't give that A grade without knowing he's going to contribute, and we just don't know that yet.
I think it's a good thing that he has family that was in the NFL. Obviously, dad, I believe, played for the Packers. Packers drafted him for that story more than anything else, I would say. But he is truly a hard worker, and he is, from everything I've heard from coaches that I've talked to, like a really good dude. Like, he's gonna get better. I just don't have patience, and the Packers shouldn't have patience either. That's kind of where I'm at with this entire draft class, but obviously my mindset's not the same as theirs, which is fine. It's just we need to get the fan base on the same wavelength here, because the Packers probably aren't going to win another Super Bowl for at least a decade, because there's the Jordan Love aftermath, and then because it's not going to be with Aaron Rodgers. We're not building a team for this year. People need to get on board with that at this point.
I wanted Malik Willis to drop so badly. That would, like, we have Jordan Love, but him in the third round, man, take Malik. That would have been beautiful. Don't even give Love a chance. Kick his ass to the curb.
No, that's still drafting 2 years down the road. 92, third round. We picked Sean Ryan, left tackle out of UCLA. Packers are going to make him a guard. It's to the point where I don't think the Packers have a guard on their team that played guard in college, really. Like, they were all tackles. It's real. Like, I know Royce Newman played guard at one point, but he was a tackle senior year. Every single one of them, they were all tackles. So here's another one. And I guess with the rest of the draft class, you see Zach Tom. He's a tackle, should be a guard, over and over and over. But really good in pass protection. He can be a good run blocker. He has good feet. Smart guy. He's just got stubby arms, and he's not tall enough to play tackle. Happens to the best of us. You know, it is what it is. I like him. I gave this draft pick an A-, and I hope to God he starts at right guard and not right tackle. If he starts at right tackle, I'll give this pick like a D or an F, because he should not play tackle in the NFL. But I think he could be a really good guard. Janet, thoughts on Sean Ryan? Oh, internet's dropping here. Luke, you go.
I'll go. Okay. Sean Ryan. I read something on Twitter today. They announced the London game that we're going to get into, Packers-Giants, about Kayvon Thibodeau or something, and someone said Sean Ryan locked him up when they played, whatever. It's just a funny tweet to see. But, I mean, I've been clamoring for it. I said maybe even, a first-round pick on it, offensive line depth. Like you said, Zach, he's probably not a tackle in the NFL, right? That's probably where we need the most depth, but that's okay. The Packers like to slide guys. Like you said, it's odd that Packers consistently draft offensive linemen to move them. To me, inside defensive linemen and outside defensive linemen, are so much different. I don't know, whatever. But I mean, I'm sold on the offensive line depth. So I think I somewhat agree with you. I'll give it A-, B+. It seems like good value if he can play, like you said, if he can be a good right guard in this league. So if you're getting that in the fourth round, I mean, that'll excite almost anyone.
Yeah, Zach, I mean, you're the guy for offensive line. I'm not. I think I can safely speak for Luke when I say he's not exactly an offensive line guru like you are either. So I can't give much more expert analysis, but to your point, I mean, we need depth at the offensive line. To get a guy like this in the fourth round is awesome. And then you add in the hair. It's a pretty nice combo. But I'm going to be stingy with my grade, so I'll give him a B+, just to be different.
Good for you. Fourth round, Romeo Doubs from Nevada, someone we talked about a bunch. He was once Romeo Dubes. He has dropped the O from his name, apparently. He is now Dubs. Hopefully he gets us some dubs, but it probably won't be this year. The dude struggled to, with tight coverage in the Mountain West. Last time someone struggled with tight coverage in the Mountain West, we drafted him in the first round to play quarterback.
We're due.
Yeah, we are due. I think Dubs is good. He's got the speed to get up behind the defense. He's got good footwork. I think he can learn routes. I don't think the Packers have a good enough wide receiver coach to actually develop him, but I hope I am wrong. He did return punts in college, which I like, and I personally believe he's an upgrade over Amari Rodgers. I don't think he's going to be given the opportunity to really win that battle, but I hope he does. And if he does, then good. And if he doesn't, then I don't think he's going to do much for the Packers this year, unfortunately. But I mean, I gave the pick a B+. I just don't think he's NFL ready, but I think he is going to be a good wide receiver 3 in the NFL eventually. Luke, what's your thoughts?
I mean, my mindset on this kind of aligns with Watkins with Watson, that you're playing with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you're going to get the ball eventually. You're going to probably get the ball early in games to see what you do. You're going to have to make the most out of those opportunities. I mean, I think I told you guys I'm all in on him. I mean, if he can return punts, He's got some good tape out there in college returning punts. I'm all in on that. I think I'm too mesmerized, and with a Tyreek Hill comparison, because obviously he's not going to be Tyreek Hill, but it almost feels
Who
like
made that compare? No. Don't even compare him to Tyreek Hill. He's nowhere near. It's not even. No.
Okay. What I'm
He's
saying
about
is
6 inches taller and doesn't beat his kids.
yeah, I got it. What I'm saying is like that Tyreek Hill role, I guess is what I meant to say. That he can be that special teams contributor right away, can work his way into the offense, and with enough speed, we've seen what guys can do.
I don't think he has speed like that, but I
Well,
hope
of course
I'm wrong.
not. But
yeah, I just wish we drafted Kelvin Austin III out of Memphis, because he could have been not an MVS role, a Tyreek Hill role. Janet, can you hear us? No.
She's
Trevor,
gone.
what's your thoughts? With Stubbs?
Again, it seems like there's two trains of thought for all these picks, because Goot's going 2 years down the road. 2 years down the road? 3 years down the road? I think is an A pick for the value at in the 4th round. Tall guy, speed. Especially seeing the Buccaneers took a damn punter after him. I think it was the Buccaneers. Got to be happy with that. But as for win right now, I'll probably give it a B+, A-. I think I'm a little more optimistic that he gets time, just because Amari Rodgers is like more time and beat out Amari clearly, just because I think Amari is bad at football. I don't think he brings anything to the table, and I think one or two more not so great plays, especially after how he was as a returner last year, are going to really get the fans up into a stir. So I think a B+. But again, I mean, as of right now, you can't ask for too much from the 4th round, but it does, to your point, suck that he can't, get open very well. That's an issue.
Yeah, I mean, again, though, I think it's good value. I think he's a good player. I think we could have gotten him later. I think it was a little bit too early. I think there was a lot better players on the board, but it wasn't a pick that happened and I was upset about. It was just like, okay. I mean, it's a good addition to the wide receiver core. It doesn't help us this year. He's not a difference maker yet, but I think he's good. Also in the 4th round, Zach Tom from Wake Forest, a player we talked about also quite a bit pre-draft. Definitely a pick that I projected. I may or may not have heard the Packers really liked him during the entire draft, so this was an easy one. Zach Tom, I think he might be the most athletic lineman in the draft. Super, super, super quick, super fast. He played left tackle at Wake Forest. Again, doesn't have the length to play tackle in the NFL. He doesn't have a ton of strength either. I think he can get better. He definitely should play guard. However, I think this is one where the Packers keep him at tackle. And not because that's good. I just think that's what the Packers are going to do. Otherwise, I mean, we're just stacking guards up at this point. I don't know why we would do that. So I think the Packers might keep him as a backup tackle. But, yeah, should play guard. But I gave this pick an A-. I love Zach Tom. He's clearly a prospect. He should not see the NFL field this year, hopefully, in best case scenario. But I think he can be a starting guard, star as a starting guard in the NFL in 3 years, probably. Luke, Trevor, thoughts?
I mean, this aligns with my other thoughts on offensive linemen. It's just great to get depth. I mean, what else is there to say about it? It is always funny to me to see guys with a first name as a last name out there, especially ones that are short as Tom.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's good for SEO, though. It really helps with writing articles. So thank you,
right,
Tom.
Yeah, I'd give it an A, right? Is he going to come in and play right guard, left guard day one and be the guy for the championship team? No. But again, we're talking about value. From all I've heard, he's a good player. I mean, he's tested well too, which usually, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round, it's good on tape, and they don't test well, or vice versa. So I like that. And Shadeed A. Kelly said, "My boy Amari Rodgers is bad at football. Then he wouldn't have been playing football with Clemson. He didn't win one championship ring with the team for nothing. I would argue it's because he plays in the ACC. So he pretty much played 3 games a season against decent teams. And college speed is a lot different. So that would be my argument.
He also wasn't great at Clemson. Everyone else was. He had great teammates at Clemson. He knows good football because he's been around it.
I think he only had over 800 receiving yards one season. Now, one season was 1,000 receiving yards, to be fair. But again, ACC, come on.
He also didn't have anyone covering him that season. But is what it is. Also, shout out Randy. Welcome back. Yes, Packers took a wide receiver in the second round. Thank God. Yeah. Round 5, pick 179, Kingsley Enagbare, a player that we were talking about pre-draft. We had him going a lot earlier. A lot of people had him going a lot earlier. I think this is a great value. Really strong guy, packs a punch. He needs to figure out where he is on the football field. I didn't talk about Davonte Wyatt in that regard. Like, I think Davonte Wyatt plays at least half of his snaps with his eyes closed. If he opens them, I think he's going to be even better. Enagbare is kind of a similar type of guy. Like, he just kind of pushes and hopes for the best. I think he has more tools than he's showing and more moves than he's showing. I don't think he's going to be a great pass rusher, but I think he can grow into a good run defender on the edge, which is something the Packers don't have. So I think that's a good pick. I think he has a lot to learn. I hope there are coaches on the roster or on the staff who can help him do that. But I think he's a good rotational person for this season. I gave it an A. I love this pick. It was a no-brainer, and I'm glad they did. I think they traded back at this spot and still got him, maybe?
I think it was the 6th round they traded back. They traded back in the 6th round. Or no.
No.
Yeah, I thought it was no, I guess it was this round then. I'd still give it an A, though. I mean, again, 5th round, what do you really expect? So seeing that he can be a rotational player and probably in the future be better, seeing that he dropped this far as well, I mean, it really checks off all the boxes. I mean, you get here kind of taking flyers anyways, so to get somebody who's kind of proven is definitely a win.
Yeah, he feels like a guy who'll get right up into the chest, but maybe won't finish the play. I mean, as long as you're getting up into the chest, he feels like a depth guy who maybe can get some reps if Packers are up big sometimes.
Yeah, definitely an upgrade to the rotation. Now the Packers have 4 7th-round picks. First one's Tarek Carpenter from Georgia Tech. Played safety in college. He played at a bunch of different levels. Played safety, played some slot. Packers are going to convert the safety to inside linebacker for the NFL. And he's built like a linebacker. Should he play inside linebacker? Probably not. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Oren Burks. Like, we got rid of him, and now he came back in the form of Tarek Carpenter. Carpenter, it's a feel-good story because he was a Packer fan. That's good. I think he can be really good on special teams because he's a versatile guy. And if we used him in a versatile role on defense where he could line up in the slot and line up in different positions depending on the package, I think that would be amazing. We just don't have the coach to do that. So we are going to shove him into inside linebacker where he will probably be lower on the depth chart than Isaiah McDuffie. So good pick.
Lower than me.
I gave it it's so stupid. It's so dumb. I don't know why we do it, but it's
he
fine.
Feels like a special teamer to me, right? I mean, that's
he
where
should
he's going to contribute. Yeah.
He'll be very good on special teams.
Yeah. That's what the pick was in my mind.
Hope so. If we wanted to not take up too much space on the defense, and what I want to do after this will be sort of roster building 101 to show you how big of a problem the Packers roster form construction is. Like, we shouldn't put him at linebacker. We should make sure he's a safety because we don't have a backup safety at all. Like, that's not even a joke. I guess Vernon Scott is one. We don't even have Henry Black. We didn't sign him back on a minimum, which is less than $1 million. We don't have a safety. Like, put him at safety. Why linebacker? Jonathan Ford. I don't want to talk about him. He is trash. He shouldn't be on the team. Cut him now. Rasheed Walker, 7th rounder, 249, offensive tackle out of Penn State. Brought him up a little bit earlier. Like, I think he was first or second team All Big Ten at tackle. He is what he is. He's not going to bully anybody. He's super passive. I feel like he walks around the field apologizing for bumping into people, and when he has to block people, he tries to just see them off. He's not trying to like push anybody. So I think he's fine. He is what he is. He's a rotational tackle, or a depth tackle rather. And that's fine because the Packers have 0 depth at tackle. So I have it at B-. Fine. Thoughts?
Same thing. Depth.
Same thing. To your point earlier about the safety, though, we all know I'm really high on McKinley the third. I would have thought, again, I like Carpenter for special teams, but to your point, Jonathan Ford and Samori Toure, who we're going to get into next. You don't have a backup safety. I would probably take a safety that looked pretty damn good on tape at Oregon, but, that might be too much to ask.
Agreed. I hope it's a special teams pick. The Packers, to even Gutekunst's words and thoughts, don't draft for special teams, but maybe this was a special teams pick, which I would be ecstatic about. Last pick, round 7, 258, Samori Toure, wide receiver out of Nebraska. He started at Montana. He was really good at Montana. Essentially moved up a talent level by going to Nebraska. Was fine at Nebraska. Wasn't anything special. 6'3". He's basically a big slot. Why is he playing slot? Same reason why we talked about with Treylon Burks, because he's not fast and he's not a good enough route runner to get separation. So you put the guy in the slot so there's a little bit of natural separation. Yada, yada, yada. In the NFL, he probably shouldn't play slot. He's a good blocker. And I would guess the Packers made this draft pick with the hope that he grows this year, maybe next year, and becomes a good enough player to replace Allen Lazard. That's my guess. That seems his peak is an Allen Lazard-like player. Thoughts?
Yeah, I like it. I hope once again, maybe there's little special teams, bigger guy who can run a little bit. I know the Packers love putting receivers on their special teams, so that's what it seems like. His first contributions to me will be.
Yeah, worth a shot this late in the draft. This is a draft round where you're taking fullbacks, punters, and kickers. So taking a wide receiver that balled out for Montana, even though it's a small school and can maybe contribute special teams, maybe turn to Lazard, that's a win.
Speaking of special teams, I would give anything if we drafted Matt Azaria.
Agreed. Apparently his hearing from punters, apparently he doesn't have an NFL drop, so there's going to be a learning curve. That's why he fell in the draft. But obviously, massive leg. He's going to be good.
Yeah.
I would have been fine with them drafting even Stonehouse or whatever from Colorado State in the 7th round. I would love a punter who kicks off.
Agreed.
That would be a dream.
We still have
And
Mason
if only
Crosby's old ass.
Not just that, we had the option. We had the option to decide a punter. Not just, I guess, I'm not sure if this is public or not. I think it is. Marquette King has been trying to come to the Packers for years. And he's got a massive leg. Like when we had J.K. Scott, he said he was clowning on J.K. Scott, saying that he can be better than him and have him come in for a tryout.
Just try him out.
Literally,
what does that hurt? Bring some swagger back to Green Bay.
Literally just that move. Man, just that move, just that improvement at punter. It's not too extreme to say there's a chance that the Packers go to the Super Bowl. They advance over the Buccaneers that year. But is what it is. Okay, anyway, here we go. I want to bring up something problematic that people aren't talking about because, I think what is really problematic with this draft class, we don't get really exceedingly better at any position, which makes game day roster construction a nightmare. And so I want to talk about what you think I'm going to put it on you guys, what you guys think should be the number of players here active on game day. So for example, Luke.
Yep.
How many quarterbacks do you think would you want to be active, on the active roster on game day? 2. Okay. We'll just do specialists because that's easy.
Yep.
I would assume 3: long snapper, punter, kicker.
Yep, 1 apiece.
Okay, so we go 3 there. Now we get a little bit more tricky in thinking about the Packers roster, and I can read it off if you want to. But running back, Trevor, Luke, how many running backs would you want on the active roster for the Packers this year?
I'd prefer 3, right, Trevor?
You got to go 3.
With Kylan Hill as the third, probably?
Yeah. That's not counting like a fullback or anything.
Correct. Packers don't have one, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 3. Wide receiver. Now, so I'll read off the wide receivers. 2 starters are Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb, and I would assume Sammy Watkins is the third starter. And then there's Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Amari Rodgers. And then after that is, the Malik Taylor, Jawan Winfrey, Samari Toure. So how many wide receivers would you guys want active on game day?
So this has to be a little bit more, right, Trevor? Because you're going to get guys in who haven't played with Aaron Rodgers before, guys who don't know the scheme well. 8?
I don't know if I'd go 8. I think that's a little drastic. I think I might go 7.
All right.
Okay, I'll put down 7. Tight ends, not including Tanyan. Obviously, Tanyan's out hurt for the start. So there's Mercedes Lewis, Josiah DeGuara, Tyler Davis, and somebody else. I don't know.
Dominique Daphne?
Daphne, yeah.
All
How many
4
of those?
Probably 2.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll let you know. Packers usually go with 4.
Jesus, we can't go 4 tight end. Holy shit! I mean, I'd go 3 max. 2 gets a little dicey for sure. I understand that, but
yeah,
man, 4 is a lot, especially with the lack of talent.
Yeah, we'll split it at 3.
Okay. Offensive line, I'll just do it as a whole. So we got the 5 offensive linemen, and then how many backups would you want then?
3 or 4? Or does it have to be 5?
Does not have to be 5.
Right.
I'd go 3 or 4 too, on the caveat that Royce Newman has to be out.
We'll throw 9 down.
9. Okay. So just counting offense then, we have 9, 11, 18, 21, 24. So 24 right there. Let's keep in mind there's 46 active game day spots. There's a 53-man roster. 46 are active. Because of COVID, they raised it to 48. I think it went back to 46 last year. But then with the 3 specialists, we're already at 27. So you're talking 19 players for defense.
Yeah.
Seeing the issue already? Because the Packers have 0 depth and no clear starters, no clear guys. Let's go defense.
Wait, real quick, how good is Randall Cobb a quarterback? So we don't have to activate Lover Benkert.
No kidding.
Could Benkert go out wide? Yeah.
You might need to. Let's start with an easy one, or like the more clear position, I would say, is cornerback. We have the 3 outside cornerbacks that are all going to start. One of them is going to play slot. More than likely going to be Jair for most of it. But how many corners would you want overall then? And by the way, I'll read the other corners because this dips quickly too.
Please
I don't think I want to.
Jair Alexander, Rasul Douglas, Eric Stokes, then Shamar Jean-Charles, Keyshawn Nixon, Keandre Thomas, Cabion Ento, Raleigh Texada.
Haven't heard of half those guys.
So Trevor, out of those 4, out of those corners, I only heard 4 that I would ever want on the field at once at any time.
I mean, 4. Which is a dangerous game if one of them goes
You're
down.
actually putting I'm gonna put 4. It's a minimum 5 on game day, by the way.
We're trying to make the cut.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you're not going to, because that's the issue with the Packers, and that's why the special teams is always terrible. Safeties, I'm gonna group them together. Obviously, Amos and Savage are the 2 starting safeties, and Vernon Scott, Sean Davis, Ennis Gaines, and that's literally it for what's on the roster, I believe. So
it's got to be these two.
Same thing as corners.
Oh my God. It's going to be just like last year. If somebody gets hurt at one of these positions, we are fucked. Even if it's not Kenny Clark.
Zach, can you read all 5 safeties off again?
I would love to. Adrian Abis, Darnell Savage, then Vernon Scott, Sean Davis, Innis Gaines.
So I know I said that, you'd be comfortable with 3 out there, but Vernon Scott I'm not comfortable with out there. So I kind of want to change it too, but you can't only have 2.
Correct, especially with Savage. He's
Who are
going
we
to
going to
lead
put
the
back
game.
there? Another cornerback that nobody knows?
That's where Randall Cobb goes again.
Yeah.
Randall Cobb's playing both sides of the ball.
Okay, we'll group defensive line together. There's a lot of packages where it's going to be 3 on the field at once, otherwise 2. But the starters is probably Dean Lowry, Kenny Clark, Davonte Wyatt. And then after them, we got Jaron Reed, Tadarius Slayton, Jack Heflin. And then Jonathan Ford, Haori Tuatau, and Akil Byers. So I would call it 3 starting spots. How much?
I'm thinking 5 as well, but I in my mind the Packers are going to probably have 7.
Yeah.
They might go 6 because a lot of defensive linemen are the ones on punt team and stuff.
Right.
And Slayton can't breathe.
True. Okay, so I have 5 there. Let's go edge rusher. Edge rusher / outside linebacker, but we don't use them really much in coverage except for Preston Smith. But we got Preston Smith, Rashawn Gary, Jonathan Garvin, Tipa Galilee, whatever, Kingsley Enigbari, Ladarius Hamilton, and then for some reason Gutekunst loves this guy to the point that he's already brought him up, Randy Ramsey, who's been on the roster for multiple years, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So how many for those 2 edge rushing spots?
4,
Yeah.
probably. I mean,
agreed.
You got to get good players on the field, but
I think 4 here, and going back to defense line, I think Packers go 5 or 6.
yeah. Well, and then
Yeah.
we talked about Enigbari. He would be not on the team, probably not on the active roster.
Not in the 4.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. That's, again, great pick.
It's just such a shit
play?
show.
Is he going to play? Probably not. And then inside linebacker, obviously running the 3-4. It's probably 2 on the field all the time. We got Devondre Campbell, Quay Walker, Chris Barnes, Isaiah McDuffie, Ty Summers, and Tarek Carpenter.
It should be a rule that if you get like somebody off the street, like some dude who hasn't played football since high school, they don't count against your active roster. But I'm thinking
nice.
4, right? I mean, kind of handicapped at 3.
Yeah, I'll go 4 with you.
Okay, so let's assume we go 4. That means then for sure, and this is the point I'm want to make over and over again. That means Ty Summers probably isn't active. That means Tarek Carpenter probably isn't active. Where does that hurt? That doesn't hurt our defense. That hurts our special teams. So going with 4 cornerbacks, which isn't going to happen, 3 safeties, 5 defensive linemen, 4 edge rushers, 4 inside linebackers. We're looking at 12, 17, 20.
Damn it.
So,
1 over, right?
1 over. So now you got to cut something.
Cut out a cornerback. Go with 3.
I'm kind of thinking Jordan Love.
Like,
shit.
you
Yeah,
can't
Randall
cut
Cobb,
anybody.
man.
You can't cut anybody on defense. You went 3
Cut
tight ends
wide
when they
receiver,
probably
right?
would go 4. Yeah. I think Packers are probably going to go 6 or probably 6 wide receiver. You have 9 offensive linemen. That's not going to happen. Packers would go probably 7 or 8.
They can play
8.
defensive line too,
Not
right?
7.
They're both lines. Not
Well,
that much different,
yeah.
right, Zach?
The reason why the Packers value versatility over talent on the offensive line is so they can go 2 or 3 offensive linemen backups because they know how they constructed their roster, which is fucking terribly. So, Tarek, or Tariq, you said it's pronounced 2 different ways. Go fuck yourself. You can't say, actually, it's pronounced these 2 different ways.
No,
that's not a thing.
I can see that. It's like how some people call it Toronto, but people from the north call it Toronto and don't pronounce the last T. I can see that.
Don't correct my
Tariq or
pronunciation if you're giving me 2 pronunciations. Figure it out. Go do research. Get to the lab. Come back with the 1 pronunciation and then I'll use that one.
What if it depends
give
on
me
his
two.
feelings for the day, man? Give him both.
Guess I'm gonna give you a little insight, and it's gonna surprise you. I don't care about people's feelings very much, so it's a little fun fact about me. But yeah, so I think my point is made where if the Packers go 6 wide receivers, then we got Christian Watson, Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb, Sammy Watkins, Romeo Doubs, Amari Rodgers.
Get Amari Rodgers the hell out of there.
Sammy Watkins, Randall Cobb last year played less than half the snaps in over half their games. Christian Watson wasn't an every snap guy at NDSU. He played the second most snaps out of the wide receiver core, so he's not going to be an every snap guy for the Packers. So you're talking Amari Rodgers is playing significant snaps, and Allen Lazard has to be the guy. That's that.
If you need a short guy to run slow over the middle, I can do it. I also do not catch passes.
Yeah. So, like, this offense, man, like, these draft picks don't make anything better. That's why when you have the Davonte Adams, who's an every snap guy, who is the guy who can do multiple roles, that's why that's valuable. You can't have a bunch of depth guys because there's only so much depth you have.
Yeah, especially when you're in a win now, right? And drafting so many guys for depth. This almost felt like it would have been a better draft, like to me, like 5 years ago, maybe. If you're drafting for all depth, because we knew back then Packers were depleted. We saw it with wide receivers. 2 of them go down, and Jeff Janis is catching Hail Marys. So I think this draft's a little behind its time. So I'm in the same mindset with you, Zach. You can't keep drafting depth guys. One of these times, someone has to start and succeed at starting.
Just for shits and gigs, I'm going to look at their draft class 5 years ago because I'm going to guess it's very similar because we've done the same thing every year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jair Alexander, Josh Jackson, Oren Burks, Jamon Moore, Cole Madison, J.K. Scott, MVS, Equinemius St. Brown, James Looney, Hunter Bradley, Kendall Donnerson. So that we needed wide receivers and we drafted a bunch of depth guys. Luke, you were correct.
So only one of those guys is still on our roster, right?
Jair? Yep. Good draft. Good draft.
Hey, it's also really sad that EQ made it the second longest. And we want to bring him back on a minimum to play special teams. That's not great.
We don't have room for him though. Which one of the 6 wide receivers
Rodgers.
are you booting?
Take his ass out. Take his ass out. I hate him so much. Dude is not good in the NFL.
I agree, but that's not going to happen. Like, the Packers have so much invested in him, not just draft pick wise, but PR wise. Like, they pumped this dude up. They put him in a featured role at returner where the spotlight is literally on him. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying if we keep drafting depth, let's stop pretending we're competing. Let's just stop pretending. That's it. Like, I love NFC Championship t-shirts or NFC North Champion t-shirts. Those are great.
That's what I was telling my friend too. My friend's like, I was telling him about, the Packers haven't, like we've been talking about, the Packers haven't gotten better over the last 3 years. And he said, yeah, well, teams would kill for where we are. We're 1 game short of the Super Bowl. Just because we don't make it 3 years doesn't mean we're not, we're not doing fine. But again, if you're not moving forward and all in with the most talented quarterback of all time, I don't give a shit how many NFC Championship games you go to. I don't care how many times Cole says sales on NFC North Division Championships. He's nothing. He's absolutely nothing.
The Packers needed to win during the COVID year. It was built for them. Like I talked about earlier, they raised the active roster by 2, which is massive for the Packers who have all depth guys. It helped out their special teams, even though the special teams was still bad. There was no crowd noise, so Aaron Rodgers could literally pick apart everybody and draw them off even better with his voice. So, like, everything was made for veteran quarterbacks anyways, but then from a roster construction standpoint, everything was really built for the Packers to win that year, and we screwed the pooch. And by the way, if we made it to the Super Bowl, we would have won because the Chiefs were a skeleton of themselves that year anyway. So
it's just so fucking funny how good Aaron Rodgers has been the last 15 years and won Super Bowl out of it. It's wild, man.
Also, the 1 game our defense is like the prime 85 Bears. Our offense shits the bed. Granted, that wasn't obviously it was not all on him, seeing that what's his nuts just had a horrible offensive game plan the entire game. But Aaron Jones didn't want
LaFleur's
to
not
run
very
straight.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then A.J. Dillon, who we had everything invested in for some reason, gets hurt, and then we freak out and don't know what to do afterwards.
And we don't block guys on 2 separate occasions on special teams. We just let them both go by.
Which we called out in week 1 and said this is an issue. It's going to cost the Packers. And then it happened over and over and over during the year. And the solution was, hey, let's cut that guy. Let's get another guy who's never played special teams in here. And then let's see how he does. Like, that's going to work. Oh, our
and then
kicking's
we
bad?
also had
Let's fuck
10
with a
guys
long
on
snapper.
the fucking defense for the last play. 10 guys on the fucking field, man. I can't believe I forgot about that till now.
Yeah, like I understand how that happens, but like the coordinator needs to know how many people are out there. Like I understand how you're set up without 10, but they didn't recognize it. That's the bad part. Like you're so oblivious that you can't recognize it. So whatever. There's a reason why Rich Bisaccia was brought in as special teams coordinator, not because he's going to be a great special teams coordinator, because he's not, but because the Packers need a leader, and he's at least that. So good, something might change, but I
Not enough guys on the field.
Maybe he's a good counter. What can I say? Bisaccia can get it done.
Just to touch back on Aaron Rodgers, though. It's pretty fucking funny that he yelled, "I still fucking own you" to Bears fans. That's so fucking funny, man.
Also, speaking of the draft, man, what are the Bears doing? They do the same shit every year, man. They're like, our defense is great and our offense is bad. Let's just double down on the defense. What are they doing?
I don't know.
How about the Vikings making 2 trades with NFC North rivals and both of them drafted receivers?
That's bad, but man, they got so much from the Packers.
They did.
Did you see Jameson Williams and his introductory
not
picture?
Not smiling at all.
He is not happy to be in Detroit.
Although I don't understand that. Like, you're gonna be the guy, right? You have Jared Goff as your quarterback. That's a downfall. Nobody expects anything of you in Detroit.
Man, Lions are interesting. Legit. If
Lions.
Jared Goff is okay, just okay, the receiving core now, who they had nobody last year. All of a sudden, they have DJ Chark, Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Quintez Cephas, Josh Reynolds, and Khalif Raymond as their starters.
And then tight end.
Packers would trade for that in a heartbeat, by the way. Tight end, yeah, they got TJ Hawkinson. Offensive line's very, very, very good. Running backs, DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams, Craig Reynolds. They got Jason Campinda at fullback, linebacker, special team stud. And then Jared Goff. But it is what it is. And then their pass rushing rotation's pretty good as well. They obviously need a lot of help on defense, but if they somehow are okay on defense again, I don't know, man. They're
Campbell's
catching up
cooking,
quickly.
baby. Campbell's cooking something special, and I'm here for it.
What's a better roster, legitimately?
I think honestly,
if you put Jared Goff on the Packers or if you put Aaron Rodgers on the Lions, what team do you think gets more wins?
By a million miles.
Like, Lions defense is bad. Packers defense has so much invested in it. I think they have 7 first-round picks on defense this year. And again, they don't go together very well. And they have a stooge drawn up plays for them. But Lions offense is for sure way more talented than the Packers. It's interesting.
I was going to say, if you'd made that hypothetical and Davonte Adams is still in the Packers, I feel like that's a perfect spot for Jared Goff.
Honestly,
can we just take one for the team and trade Aaron Rodgers to Detroit? It's Detroit's time. They've suffered too long. Dan Campbell and Aaron Rodgers. Tell me that would not be electric. That would be that'd be amazing. Poor Fiesta Fridays would be off the chain.
I just want the Lions to be good.
Nope.
That's it.
They deserve it, man. Dan Campbell, man of the people.
They got rid of, yeah, they did. Okay. What's his face at offensive coordinator last year? Now it's Ben Johnson. No idea who that is.
Not a great coaching name.
Not a good name. And I Googled it, and the first two that came up is an actor or a Canadian sprinter, and he's neither. So, and then one of the people asked, did Ben Johnson pass away?
So
what a sad life.
So this Ben Johnson, he only can claim that he's, third best Ben Johnson in the world or lower. Imagine not being the best in your name, or you're not even second best.
They have a very white named coaching staff. They got Dan, Ben, Aaron, and Dave. Good for them.
That sounds like 1950s 1950s rain muddy football coaches screaming at you and not giving you shit the whole practice.
We get to see it on Hard Knocks this year too. Jacked for it.
Oh fuck! I forgot about that. Holy shit! I'm ready for the season. It's not because the damn Packers.
Anything else you guys want to talk about?
You guys saw George Pickens' draft picture?
Yeah, I did.
I really want him now.
Okay.
That picture is so fucking funny.
I wrote my Packers redraft what I would have done, and I had George Pickens. Like fucking weirdo.
That's like so fucking funny.
It's really funny. There's a video that went along with it too.
Is there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to tell if he's like just like a Marshawn Lynch kind of guy, or if he's like a real asshole. And they are polar opposites.
I will say the Steelers drafted him. Steelers don't usually draft bad receivers.
They got Calvin Austin too. Their wide receiver core is nasty. Let me look at that really quick. Like if Kenny Pickett is fine, their weapons are stupid. They got Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, George Pickens, Anthony Miller, Calvin Austin III, Miles Boykin, Gunnar Olszewski, and then tight end, obviously Pat Freiermuth, Zach Gentry, running back Najee Harris, Benny Snell. They're pretty good, except for their offensive line still blows.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if Pittsburgh has a good track record drafting receivers. I don't know if that's because of Ben Roethlisberger or whatever, but I mean, George Pickens doesn't have to start; he doesn't have to produce right away. But I feel like him and Kenny Pickett are gonna get that rookie thing down. It might be fun, in 4 or 5 years.
I mean, Kenny Pickett good reason. Be like, go ahead.
Polar opposites.
I was gonna say there's a good reason why on my redraft I went both of the wide receivers the Steelers took, like George Pickens, Calvin Austin. Like I know they're gonna be good. Like they always hit there. They're so good at it.
Him and Kenny Pickett are gonna be like that picture at the draft of Zach Wilson with all the wide receivers, and he looks so uncomfortable. That's gonna be those two.
Yeah, man. We also should say Packers did get that London game, obviously week 5, I believe. Played the Giants. We talked about it earlier. It sacrifices a home game, which blows, but every team has to do it. This is the first time Packers are actually going over there, so it is time. That also probably means the Packers have a bye week in week 6 after enjoying, obviously, a late bye week last year. So it blows for the veterans, but to adjust in terms of like what all these really inexperienced players who are playing major roles, that could be a good bye week for that. So,
right, week 6 bye. I mean, these depth pieces are going to have to play come week 16, right? There's no way any of these guys are lasting full seasons. So, I mean, these guys have to be ready right before playoffs.
Like the Packers wide receiver core without Sammy Watkins and Randall Cobb. That's what we should be talking about because that's what's going to happen. So it's Christian Watson, Alan Lazard, Romeo Doubs, Amari Rodgers. That's 4. So then Malik Taylor, Juwan Winfrey. Like
that's the same team as last year minus Davonte Adams.
Minus Davonte Adams, yeah.
1,500-yard receiver.
I got a question for you guys. How long is it gonna be before Packers Twitter thinks they're really funny with like the first like Dubs joke with Romeo Doubs?
Oh, they're gonna love it. as soon as they figure out that it's pronounced Dubs, I don't think that's set in yet. Once they figure it out, they're gonna go crazy.
He will always be Dupes to me.
Dubes would be so much cooler. He catches a touchdown, everybody goes "do" in Lambeau. That's what we need.
I
He should
agree.
change his damn name. Stop being so selfish, man. Come on.
Doesn't have to change it. Just sound it out. It's spelled Dupes. Like,
I did want to say something about the London game though. I mean, I'm not a fan of the London game, obviously because it takes away a home game, like you said, Zach. But there's a reason, the Packers is the first time. I think I've said this on the show before, but I mean, the Packers aren't giving up a home game for London, and no team wants to give up their Packer game. So the 17 game season obviously helps the NFL get the Packers to London.
That's going to be massive,
Right.
actually, having a good team, semi-decent matchup, and Aaron Rodgers. I mean, has there ever been a guy at his caliber over there? I don't think so.
well, right. Aaron Rodgers is going to London. Tom Brady has a game in Germany, and then I think the Chiefs play in Mexico. So
Mhm.
yeah, they're actually like making sure there's good teams. We're not sending the Jaguars back over there.
So actually, I thought it was San Francisco, Arizona, and Mexico,
Oh, that might be it. That might be it. You're right.
which is going to be hilarious because good luck Kyler Murray running around without any oxygen at like 2 miles above sea level. But,
Also possibly without DeAndre Hopkins, which is cool. I'm not sure when it is, but
That team
good
is
for
so
the Cardinals.
short.
Very short. I feel like they're all like 5'5" or shorter.
I think their tallest player is James Conner. He's like 6'1".
I think so. I think that's fair. What are the Cardinals doing too? Like, oh, we're not good. Let's get another wide receiver. Let's draft a tight end. They drafted Trey McBride. Why? I
Yeah.
love Trey McBride. Why?
he's
There's no
going to be
point.
he's going to be such a problem for a dynasty draft tomorrow. Getting a little off the hinges. Like, what do you do with him? Because Zach Ertz, he's not even that old, is he?
Maybe 32, 33.
Yeah, he's still got like 3-4 years left. What the hell are they doing with Trey McBride?
I mean, they don't know how to drop plays anyways. 31. So yeah, even younger.
What did the Ravens trade? What did they get back for Marquise Brown? It was a pick,
23rd, right?
It was a pick, right?
Yeah.
Who did they take
Yep,
with
and
that? Do you know anyone?
Tyler Linderbaum?
Okay, so they needed that, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
with how much they use Lamar Jackson, it feels like they need a field stretcher to get safeties out of there.
You would think so. Yeah, they're a wide receiver core. Rashad Bateman, who's going to be a second-year player, he's very good,
Mhm.
but he's not a field stretcher. Then Devin Duvernay,
Unless they're using
James
Duvernay for that.
Croce, Tylen Thomas, Benjamin, not Benjamin, Benjamin, Victor, and Jalen Moore. So yeah, they got fucking nobody.
Mhm.
I know they said they wanted Calvin Austin III, and then the Steelers took him a pick before. But
They drafted Daniel Fayale, the fucking 500-pound
Yeah.
Minnesota tackle. What are the Ravens doing?
winning, man. Maybe they'll put him on special teams. Who knows?
Dude, he is no good at football. I love it. Oh, they also drafted David Ajabo.
They drafted.
And
They
got
got
Kyle
Ravens
Hamilton.
pick.
Kyle
They got
Hamilton.
Cal.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a good
Those are
first round.
Ravens picks if I've ever seen them. Kyle Hamilton and
so good.
Chabo
Man.
is ridiculous.
So,
Right when he's healthy.
Zach, I know you're a Kyle Hamilton guy. So am I. I said that Kyle Hamilton may be the best player out of this draft.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said the best player to me, and I'm biased, and I measured it as the best player at their position. Like the best player who's the best at doing their job is Tyler Linderbaum, who they also got.
Yeah.
So, I mean, fuck it. Like Ravens did well. They just don't have a wide receiver, and I guess it doesn't matter.
I mean, we know that the Ravens are going to run the ball anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, people forget how good their running attack is because they didn't have Dobbins or Edwards last year.
Right.
It's going to be scary this year.
Maybe it should be. Oh, they also drafted 2 tight ends that I like. So I think not even a joke. Just looking at the way this roster is constructed, a 3 tight end set I don't think is an exaggeration. They also should probably sign what's his face? Jarvis Landry. That would help a lot. But whatever.
I think we also need to say goodbye and farewell to our good friend Jason Poe. That made me sad.
Where did he go?
San
49ers.
Francisco.
Fucking
That's a
San
good spot
Francisco.
for him. He's going to be, dude, he gets to learn from Juice. He's the next Juice,
The
dude.
juice is loose.
Yes.
Let's, before we end, I need to talk some fantasy football for a second with our draft coming up tomorrow. I don't have a backup running back on my roster, and I have Raheem Mostert. And we all know what the Dolphins like to do with their running backs. So I don't know what to do for running back for the upcoming season. Because, like you said, Zach, all these players that got drafted, all the good players, they feel like they landed in horrible fantasy spots.
Horrible. Like just go down the running backs are all part of committees basically, except for maybe Cook in Buffalo, maybe not. But the wide receivers are all with bad quarterbacks. It's weird.
I'm feeling really good about trading Luke my last pick in the first for DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, hindsight. Yeah, no shit.
But I have three.
Yeah.
There's a stretch in the third round where 3 of the 4 picks in the late third are mine. So can I like delete the pick? Is that possible?
Go ahead. I'll take it if you don't want anything for it. I like
Agreed.
drafting people.
Agreed. I have 1 first-round pick and 2 fifth-round picks this year.
Can I drop draft picks? Put them on free agency.
Put it up to waivers.
Sure.
Imagine the bidding war for those.
Yeah, no, it might be big actually. Yeah, we can talk fantasy off the air. This was Lombardi Sweep. We'll be back probably not next week. I don't know when. Keep every day. Keep looking. Keep sharing the show, and if you share it enough times, I bet we show back up. So
Subscribe.
Keep doing that.
It's like Beetlejuice. If you say our name enough times, we show up.
By the way, YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe. I think we were 2 subscribers short of 700 before we started. I want to hit that tonight. So figure it out. Create an account, subscribe, do something. I don't care. Let's get over 700. Okay. Bye. Love you. Not you.